Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now before we get into today's video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. And then you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories as and when it happens. So we are back in league action this weekend across many of the leagues after a cup weekend last weekend. However, we do have one cup final here in England this week, as it is the League Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal for the rights to be crowned Conti Cup winners for the 2022-23 season. So let's start on that game. So obviously the two teams played each other last week in the FA Cup, with Chelsea winning 2-0 thanks to goals from Sophie Ingle and Sam Kerr. So Arsenal will be looking to get their revenge this weekend, and obviously there's all chances of possibility of it happening. They'll know Chelsea's weak spots from last point, and they just know that they need to be more clinical in when it comes to taking their chances, because that was their main problem last week, is they had I think over 20 shots and 10 to 15 of them were on target. However, they just couldn't beat Ann-Katrin Berger in goal for Chelsea that weekend. So if they can be more clinical, then you've got to give Arsenal half a chance. And obviously Arsenal know the history of the competition, being one of the most successful sides to ever have played in the Conti Cup, so it's definitely not out of the realms for them to try and win this competition this season. Obviously, if you look on the opposite hand, Chelsea, fantastic in the Conti Cup over the last couple of years, been really successful, and obviously knowing Arsenal's weak spots from last week, they should be able to score goals galore. Now in terms of lineups, would we see much difference from last weekend's FA Cup tie between the sides? It's probably hard to say too much difference will be seen between the two sides. Maybe like one or two players might be changed around. Other than that, I doubt we'll see too much difference in that sense. Maybe you'll see the likes of Victoria Pilova and Katrine Cole for Arsenal start rather than come off the bench, and then for Chelsea possibly see Jessie Fleming come back into the starting 11, as well as Kadisha Buchanan as well. So I expect a couple of changes in that one, in that sense. However, it's going to be a close called game, and I think definitely Arsenal are going to want that revenge from last week's disappointment, losing to them in the FA Cup, and obviously having the chance to win the first bit of silverware this season here in England. So all eyes are going to be on that on Sunday, as the two teams battle it out for the first trophy of the season here in England. Elsewhere, we do have league action in England, with 4 games taking place on Sunday, starting off with Manchester United versus Leicester City, first versus last place. Obviously Manchester United in fantastic form, winning their last league game against Spurs 2-1, and obviously that was the game where Ella Toone was sent off. However, she did get that rescinded, so it's obviously available for that one, and Mark Skinner confirmed in his press conference on Wednesday that all players are available apart from Jade Riviera, who's still a couple of weeks away from being able to play her first couple of minutes for Manchester United. I haven't seen anything from Willie Kirk as of the time of recording on the Leicester players injury front, but I don't think it's going to be that much of a walkover, because they've obviously improved in recent weeks. Leicester City obviously winning in the league last time out against Liverpool, and then only losing 2-0 to Manchester City at the start of February. But the side have been playing really well in recent weeks. There seems to be that spirited revival, and obviously Janina Leitzig in goal has been absolutely fantastic for them, so it shouldn't be a walkabout as many people may expect for Manchester United. Elsewhere, we have Everton Aston Villa at 1 p.m, then we have Manchester City versus Tottenham and Reading versus West Ham both at 2 o'clock, and then Arsenal versus Liverpool and Chelsea versus Brighton will be played next Wednesday, obviously due to Arsenal and Chelsea playing each other in the Conti Cup this weekend, so that's why we don't have all the games taking place this weekend in here in England. So over in Germany this weekend, we actually have had a game already this week, as Turbine Potsdam played up one of their games that they were missing against Werder Bremen from earlier on in the season, with Werder Bremen taking the victory. Elsewhere this weekend, we have Eintracht Frankfurt taking on Freiburg on Friday evening. One game on Saturday as Wolfsburg take on Hoffenheim, with the rest of the games being played on Saturday, with Bayern Munich travelling to Werder Bremen. Over in the Frauen Eredivisie, most of the games are taking place this evening. We have VV Alkmaar versus Telstar, PSV versus Excelsior, and Heerenveen versus Den Haag. Then on Saturday it's the big one from the Johan Cruyff Arena as Ajax take on Feyenoord at 3:30 UK time, and then on Sunday we see Fortuna Sittard take on FC Twente. And finally, the last bit of league games, because there's no league games this weekend in Italy and France. We have Real Sociedad versus Atletico Madrid on Saturday, with a bunch of the other games, including Real Madrid travelling to Alhama, and then Sunday sees Barcelona play Villarreal, Sevilla host Levante, and Levante Las Planas taking on Real Betis to round off the weekend's fixtures. So they are all this weekend's fixtures to look forward to across the European leagues, and obviously here in England as well as excuse me, as well as the Conti Cup Final that takes place on Sunday. So like I said, make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram with all updates from the games and any other stories that come out over the next couple of weeks as we get into towards the business end of the season now. And obviously March sees the return of the UEFA Champions League in a couple of weeks time, and we'll have full coverage and updates on that as and when it happens. And also the NWSL returns this month in about 20 odd days or so. The end of March sees the return of the NWSL, so it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that. In the meantime, like I said at the start, make sure you're subscribed with the post notification bell turned on, and that you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories as and when it happens. In the meantime, we'll see you soon.